First thing I'm going to do is proning input. So I'm going to go to my input actions and I'm going to click add prone, the name of the input. I'm going to copy the crouch bindings and paste it in that prone. Then select the prone, actually the crouch, add a tap interaction. And for the prone, I'm going to add a hold interaction. And I'm going to keep this 0.4. I'll save the asset. Now let's begin with the code. In the movement section, I'm going to define a new bool for is proning and a new float for prone speed and prone back speed. A float for the prone height, and the float for the prone center Y. Now, if I come to the player movements section, it handles speed and player height. I'll check if prone is triggered. Then I will also do the same raycast that's being done on every other one and just change the proning variable. And I'll set it to false in every other action as well. And also set the other actions to false when it's triggered. I'm just gonna add that code, not is proning, and also a new line is proning, then current speed equal to prone speed. And then handle the proning speed again. So if you're greater than y, then continue with prone speed, otherwise we'll go with the prone back speed. So I think, yeah, so in the animation function, we're just going to check if you're crouching. Just copy this. So if you're crouching, I'm just going to paste that same line, or proning, else if, and else. And I'm going to change the values accordingly. So I know prone is going to be -1, so I'm going to set to -1, crouching is 0, and standing is 1. Meaning standing would be, standing, because nothing else is happening. Alright. Now I'm going to add an else if after the if is crouching for the height and center, and then adjust the values correctly. Well, first I'm just going to define a new float for the controller values lip speed, and I'm going to use that in my alert function. And for the center, we're going to use vector3.lib, and I'm going to multiply them both with controller alert speed. I'm going to copy this and paste it 2 times more, and then pass it. So standing height, standing center Y, and prone height, prone center Y. I'm just gonna reorder some things and make it like a section for header, proning, and then I'm also gonna add a bool, enable proning, and by default it's false. Now inside the handle speed and player, we'll also check if you're proning, then we'll check for the input. And then also if you're not proning, then we should just set it to false. And this, I'm just gonna simplify this with a simple function. So I'm gonna define a crouch to stand raycast. And in here, I'm gonna put this, return this, but it's gonna give me an error because we need to make this a bool. Now I'm just gonna paste this function there instead, and just similar for all the others as well. Now here also in the jump function is used, I'm just gonna change that as well. It's also used here, so I'm just gonna change that too. And now I'm loading again. So we're gonna get some proning starting to work on now. Well, we're just gonna go and create a new constraint inside the body section, call this spine rotation rig. Add simple rotation constraint. Set the weights 2.3 and just pass in spine rot rig as the constraint object for now. Actually, the spine has to be, and then center spine at target and maintain offset enabled. All right, now in the blend tree, I'm gonna add a new one in the movement one, and It's going to be for proning, so I'm going to set it to proning. Then I'll set the standing value to 1. I will make it 2D freeform directional. I will use the correct parameters. And here I've got these from XML. You can find these as well. Front, forward, backward, idle, left turn, and right turn. So I'm just going to set these correctly, the settings. And then I'm going to assign them. So I need to pass in left turn. I need to pass in right turn. -1 on the X and the left turn has to be -1, the right one can be. I'm also going to add a new blend tree. That's the prone straight, a 2D free from Cartesian with using X and Y. Prone idles are going to be in there. And we're going to have another blend tree. I mean, just going to keep prone on that one. And then I'm going to paste these prone straight inside prone itself. Back to the prone straight. I'm going to put prone forward and prone backward and set them correctly as the positions. And then I'm going to add 2 more, one for the left turn and right turn. I'm going to set the X to -1. So as you can see, I'm just going to reset the values to something like that. And now I'm going to enable proning. As you can see, we do prone that, but we have some issues. Firstly, our character is in the air, which looks a bit odd. And what I'll do for this is we need to change prone heights to something like 0.6. Well, actually, it's become like a cat street actually. So there's something else wrong here. And if I see the height is 1 moment and same as I've said to it, 1.1 actually. 1.2 maybe would be better. I'm just gonna go and find some changes to 1.1f so we don't have that confusion here. Send the y to 0.55 and retry it. As you can see, he's lying down on the ground. And the capture was approximately pretty okay. Now, of course, this training is not perfect, but we will actually make a rigid body one as well. So that will actually allow us to add like ragdolls, and then collision will become much better. So I will allow like a system where you can select character controller or the rigid body later on. But for now, we're just gonna, that's why I have this enable pruning check and just change the speed and back speed to 0.5. And there's also something wrong with his movement. If you have a look at his body, it's swaying. So I'm just gonna select the prone backward and I'm gonna enable root transfer rotation and it's become much better. Same for the prone forward. And the idle, I think it's already done. And the left turn, we don't want to do that there. Now on the proning, if you see, we've got these set for this. I'm just gonna increase the speed of the forward to 1.5. And I'm just gonna have a look at how that looks now. Okay, so that looks pretty okay to me. Alright. Now let's set them correctly, the prone back and prone forward. As it wasn't save and play. Now we can see that everything seems to work. I'm gonna actually enable root transfer rotation on these. See what happens. So as you can see, I think it's okay to keep it off or keep it on, maybe. I'm gonna change the prone speed in the code as well to 0.5. Right. Now for the prone looking limits, let's go into this definition of the max look amounts. And I'm gonna add a new one for the abdominal look limits. I call this my look amount proned, and then I'm going to use that. So as you can see, it's used here. I'm going to check if, well, we can see we have this previous code. I'm just going to add it in between is moving and is blank. And this is proning, and it's taking a bool is proning as well. And if that's so, we just paste the same code, but now we're going to use the look amount proned instead. I'm going to reposition the proned section inside the max look amounts. As you can see, it's getting an error. I'm just going to pass in the is proning. Save and come out. We're gonna get the strip loaded. Once that's done, we can try it out. If you find the Mac to look mouse and expand it up, you'll find the prompt. We can set the lookup limit to something like 10 maybe. Let's just have a look at how it looks. So as this is our longest gun, I would like to set it as minimum as possible down limit. And for the height, maybe set to something more, maybe. So I'm just gonna go with 15 as the bottom look limit. And for the lookup limit, well, I think we can go with something like, maybe, let me just have a look. So you don't want to stretch that too much. If you see the body isn't looking perfect, so I'm just going to keep that down to 20. Alright, so we'll just come out of play right now and set the values will be changed. I'm going to disable proning to see if it allows me to prone anymore, and doesn't allow me to prone anymore, which is perfect. So I can keep on holding the key, it just won't let me go on proning anymore. Actually, I'm going to set the transform rotation off on the left hand and right hand of the proning. It's time to add some procedural weapon movement to actually change, because before we had bob, now I'm going to use it as procedural. I'm going to remove that reference to the gun holder position type of a thing. Delete that from there as well, and save and come back. And I'm going to remove this and call it the gun holder animated. And this is not going to follow anything anymore. And create a new script, gun holder animated. And then in this script, well, I'm going to define basically, I'm going to use system first. And then going to inside it, underneath the class, I will do a serializable to the class and bob settings. And we'll have a header in it, bobbing settings. We'll define a public float. The first float is going to be for the walk bob amount. And this will not be camera moving. This is going to be the actual weapon bobbing, which will make it more realistic. Similarly, we're just going to duplicate for sprint and crouch. So the speed and the amounts. A float for the smoothing, which is set to 8. A tilt, or actually the X tilt, multi. So the multiplier, which is going to be 30. You can also use a public vector 3 for the sprint rotation, which is going to be a new vector 3 with 10, minus 10. I'm going to set the sprint position offsets to 0. And the main bob settings, another serializable section, which will just have the header controller with controller reference. Next, I'm going to have a region here, and the region will be general. I'm going to add a settings comment. We'll have the two settings directly put in here. We'll define two vector 3s, the start position and the start rotation. So that's going to be the default one, and we'll set it in the start to the actual rotation dot yield angles for the rotation and the position for the local position. Similarly, head bob check and smooth position to target. We're going to do that, smooth draw to target. In the update function, we're going to define a new region for the functions. We'll do a head bob check. We'll do a function for the smooth position to target, a smooth rotation to target. And inside the head bob check, we'll get the move input using our main bob settings dot controller. Actually, we just make that public. And I will access the input that move dot read value up to 2. We'll see the input magnitude is set to new vector 3, move input of x with 0f, and we'll set dot magnitude. We'll check if it's greater than 0. If so, we want to create head bob position effect, and we want to do the move tilt as well. We'll create a new function for it's a vector 3 type. We're going to store in plus as the vector 3.0. We'll check if the country. Actually, there's some issue here. Yeah, I was testing, so I actually have another main bob setting somewhere. Anyway, let's just continue. Check if it's grounded and equal to true. If so, we want to do the check if the walking is true. Then we'll do this. So we're going to add the post.y with a method look from post.y to method.sign of time.time times and bob settings. Actually, yeah, so we're gonna do times head bob settings dot walk bob speed and all of that multiplied by head bob settings dot walk bob amount times 1.4 f, comma, head bob settings dot smoothing times time double time. I'm gonna just make this look better. I'm also gonna return cos at the end of the function. Now for the x, we're just gonna duplicate it, change the sign to cos and the value to 1.6, and instead of cos dot y, it's gonna be cos dot x, and also divide by 2 on the bob speed. Do the else if for the sprinting and just paste the same code. Now we're going to use the sprint values instead. We'll just check if we're not doing any of those but still crouching. Then we'll use this. And yeah, we're just going to copy and paste the same code. But this time we'll change it to crouching. Let me just fix those. And now I'll do the crouching. Yep, now at the end of this, we're just going to say the local position plus equals to pulse. And we're going to do a function for the move tilt. Basically, it's going to be storing a vector 3 for the, well, actually a float, the z rotation equal to 0. We'll check if the main mode segment controller is grounded. And if so, we're going to get the move input again. And we'll set it to the actual move input. We will say 0 is equal to move input dot x. Set it to head bob settings dot x tilt multi times time with delta time. Then we'll just multiply equals the rotation with Euler rotation, which is going to be 0, 0, and our 0. We'll return the what actually. I'll make that back into a vector 3, and we'll set this vector 3 to 0 and just modify the z. We'll return the what, and now smooth position to target, we'll say if local position is equal to start position, we'll return. Otherwise, we'll set the vector alert to transform the local position from to the starting position. And we'll uncheck also if the main setting is sprinting. If that is so, we'll do a bit of offsetting. Similarly, for the rotation, smooth out to target, we'll just check if, well, transform the local rotation, you can set pretending not slurp. And the target again, we'll check if we are sprinting or not. And if so, then we will pass on sprint rotation, otherwise it's start rotation. Now, if I save this out, come over here. I'm going to add that script. I will pass in the references it requires. And if I just hit play right now, as I'm moving, we've got some nice tilting as well. However, the issue is still in there. So I'm going to go back over here. And I'm going to change this code over here. I've set an equal to by mistake. Instead, it's supposed to be a multiply, not an equal to. That was a mistake. And now the tilt actually does do what we are looking for, and the debugging as well working at the same time. And if you run, got this nice looking thing going on. So for this in the spine, we're just going to delete that gun holder stuff. And let's, yeah, delete the move follow stuff. I'm going to copy and paste these toys in the printing. I want to improve this system. I'm going to pass in 1.2 in the X modification. I'm going to do the Z modification as well. And how this is going to work is we'll divide that by 2f. But the sprint bob amount will be multiplied by, well, it should work. Actually, going to use the post of Z. All right. And in the, as you can see in the settings, we just have the same thing working on. The sprint bob speed will be used. And now it looks a bit more natural. So you can see it's going forward, backward bobbing as well, which makes it look like he's actually running, and it looks really nice. You could change the offset position and everything else. You can also increase the bobbing speed if you don't like the looks.